All right, welcome to my first ever round review. Bear with me as I work through the nooks and crannies of how this all works, but yeah, I've got up each game. Going to review each of the 9 games from round 7, and then talk through my team and how I went, and then also some insights into what to do for round ahead from my end. So, firstly, reviewing the Bulldogs and Sydney game. So, just off the top with the Bulldogs, if you traded out Bont and you're a Bont owner, you'd be regretting that move now. As that age old saying, never trade out your Uber Primos. And yes, his price will come down in those non-owners, including myself, looking at lips going into potential Bont sub 600, but yeah, he's also round 12 buy as well, so it's going to make some awkward timing with a lot of primos, especially in the forward line, off on round 12. So watch this space. Bit of a bounce back for Dale, bit of a pod move for those brave enough. Sanders getting some mid-clock. Bustlinger, it's done really well. I saw some commentary about Bustlinger and Sower looking exactly the same, which they really do with that haircut and headband. But yeah, Bustlinger obviously had a great first game for the year, as I believe it. Ed Richards, those that held wouldn't probably be sort of disappointed with the roller coaster that's been Ed Richards' season so far, but at 88, it's not all that bad. Should bounce back. Interesting one in Trelaw's debut there, 80 points. I think he's priced at just over $300,000. You probably want to see it again next week. Again, round 12 buy as well. But for a value option in the forward line, it could be a sneaky play there. So I'll watch this space on Trelaw. I'd wait a week though, just to have another look at it. Selwood and Jakes, both, going as well as they should for rookies, and making some good coin for both teams. Both players making good coin for teams that have those respective players. They did trade out Selwood a couple of weeks ago, so regretting that a little bit, but it is what it is. Fraser, geez, he's a massive disappointment for those that took a punt on him, but you probably would have traded him out by now. Don't think there's anything else sort of fantasy relevant. For the Bulldogs, going over to the Sydney team, Brodie Grundy obviously was always going to feast on a non-English matchup, but still rewarded those coaches that may put the VC or C on him, especially on a Thursday night. Charlie Curnow, massive bounce back game, or best game for the season, obviously 7 goals for Sydney. We'll see if this is a potential start for runner form for him. Probably not SuperCoach relevant too much, but those maybe for draft that have got him probably had them on their benches, and yeah, we'll probably repay owners as it relates to that. Chad Warner, look, his ceiling scores aren't there, unfortunately. He's kind of roll even with Heaney out in this game. I'll touch on Heaney in a little bit, but yeah, Chad was obviously great. Had needed 3 goals to get to 104, so he's not going to kick 3 goals every game. He's probably good for 1, maybe 2, but yeah, he's obviously now forward eligible, so he's not the worst player by any means. Probably a top 8 to 10 forward, but again, yeah, his floor is definitely raised this year. He's not going those sort of 60s, 50s games where he has in the past, but the ceiling's definitely not there for Chad Warner at the moment. Mills, I don't think is classic relevant, but going along nicely there. Sheldrick got some increased clock with Heaney out. Anything in terms of SuperCoach relevance, McInerney, yeah, he's been going great this season. He's been reasonably priced and also putting up some really, really good scoring, consistent scoring. Probably had a low game here, but owners would probably forgive him. Probably would have been a lot of people that traded him in this recent round, but still he'll probably repay your faith. What else is relevant here? Roses, those that have him, still chugging along, making some coin. Those that went on pod in Blakey, unfortunate for those owners. There probably wouldn't be too many, I would have thought, but yeah, that's not what you want from one of your potential pod primos that kills you. All right, that's it for Bulldogs Swannies game. Over to the next game, we had the Anzac Day Eve game. Tigers actually gave this a red hot crack for the first half, but yeah, obviously Melbourne then rolled them over in the second half. But yeah, in terms of the fantasy and SuperCoach relevant scoring, Jack Ross more draft relevant, but a bit of a lower score there for him. He has been going really well. Prestia with that forward eligibility, probably more draft relevant than anything. Getting into some Supercoach Classic relevant guys though, Rechko, those that went early, good on you for doing that. Yeah, he's going to make a heap of coin. I would consider him a must-have for this week, so definitely trade him in. Layla's just going as it relates to his price point, probably giving equal value for those that did go him. So well done there. Could be one you trade out, but if you want to wait and see, fine. Cumming, great first score. First up, he's a high price point for a rookie, but I think he's around that 170 mark, but he probably will make, anywhere between, say, 100, 120K, which is that nice little price point. We try and aim for 150 for our rookies, but still pretty good. And we are, strapped for decent rookie options this time of season as well. Someone as talented as Cumming, especially. Grill, someone that I personally let go in the last round or two, but if you did hold, good. He's still making you sort of 10, 15K each week. Might top out at say 330, 340 if that. But in terms of players that can go, he can certainly go. But if you want to hold him, he's fine to hold as well. Obviously, good DBP with the def mid. I don't think anything Supercoach Classic relevant for the rest of the team. No. No. Bolter had a great start in the ruck. He towed up Gorn essentially in that first quarter, but that sort of tapered off. Moving over to the Melbourne side, Cozzy Pickett, he was, what was he? He was probably worth 470, 480, only 3-4 rounds ago, and those that jumped on at that point, good on you. Even though we're not talking about AFL Fantasy here, his AFL Fantasy scoring is still up, which is great, because comparatively to last year, his AFL Fantasy scoring was, I don't want to say a lot lower, but lower definitely than his Supercoach. And he's got a really good ratio this year and definitely getting a lot more disposals and still kicking bags. So, yeah, he's definitely top 6 forward, if not top 4 forward, depending on DVP changes this year. So, and with the round 16 buy, that's great buying. Doesn't have that buy till the last lot. So he'll be in good stead for those that have a lot of obviously forward players. Primos have that round 12 buy. So nice to balance that out. Maxi Gorn, those that went either VC or C on him would be very disappointed. He did, not only was he sharing with Heath, but he did cop a pretty bad back knock during the game as well, which certainly didn't help him. So, look, you sort of take it as an owner. You're very disappointed given the matchup at the same time. Still going well for those that still have him. Windsor, up game for him. Versus Richmond, so that was probably expected. I don't think anyone else at Classic still has him, but not many people at least. I don't think there's anything else Classic relevant for Melbourne as far as I can tell. So I'll move on to the next game. Hawks and Suns. Hawks, Newcomb, pretty impressive game from him. Wouldn't be overly Classic relevant, but maybe more for your draft. What else? Classic relevant on the Hawks side. C-Mac, a bit of bounce back game for him. I know more than a few people that have C-Mac in their teams. And you can just see the nice spread here amongst the Hawks players. Besides Newcomb and also Impey, I guess, to a lesser extent. No one really... nice spread of plays in the 90s and 80s, but no real major ceiling scores, which same, to be honest, could be said for the Suns as well. Hawks are generally not the most friendly, relevant, or Supercoach relevant team, just given their game style, but still. I think anything else relevant here in Classic. So moving over to the Sun side, Mac Andrew. I'm not sure if he played half ruck, half defense. He probably did do a bit of a split. I didn't watch the whole game. Massive score from him, I think it's probably more an outlier than potentially what to expect from him in the future. So probably wouldn't be buying in Classic, but maybe once for your draft, just check your waiver wires. He might be sitting there. Petrarca, those that bought into him in the last week or two would not be too unhappy at all. His def's going to be, top 3, if not top 2, forward primos. So good buying there. If you're not onto him yet, definitely buy him. But do watch out for that round 12 buy. Noah Anderson, those that held 1 week, well done for holding. 95 is not all that bad. He's probably one of his, he's one of his highest scores for the seasons, but he'll be better for it in the long run. It's just good to have him back, to be honest. He probably did, if he was say out again, he'd be feeling another rookie. So obviously don't want that. And so, yeah, he's repaid owners by just being out for 1 week. I personally did trade myself, but if I knew he was going to be out for just the week, it was 1 to 3 weeks on the injury report. So if I knew it was just the 1 week, I probably would have held, to be honest, because trades are flying out the door for most people. But yeah, there's Noah. Took Miller, a bit of a down game again. He's been, ever since that hot start, say between sort of round 0 to round 4/5. And he's really had a couple of down games in recent times. So not to say he's not a good buy, not to say he won't be a good forward, but still probably going to get him cheaper than what he's at present time. Supercoach Classic relevant Lombard just going with his 40s. Just a slow burn. He's not even worth trading, to be honest, given the money that's on his head. But he's obviously not a keeper at the same time as well. So you could off him if you wanted to, but you may as well just hold him because you're not going to make that much money off him anyway. Probably one of your last traded out, just a slow burn. Matty Rao, this one's an interesting one. So he was already going to be, more cheaply priced given the start of his season. However, this 49 is going to, further tank his price. So, the likes of Bont, Rao, McGluggage, Dunkley is already low. Finn, we'll get to Finn in a little bit, Finn Callahan, but there's a lot of mid uber primos, to be honest, that are going to be coming down in price. So, look, the mids are probably not where you want to be buying right now, and you probably wait on a lot of them, and then maybe strike when the iron's hot, say around buy time, getting them for cheap. So, I don't think there's anything else classic relevant in this game. Bombers Magpies, so I'm a Bombers fan, and again, just a great Anzac Day showing from my Bombers. To be honest, the scorelines, even though it's a 60 plus. 60 plus points, smashing the scoreline's flattering, to be honest. It was shocking, especially in that second half. Not sure what our game plan is, but that's enough about the real stuff because I'll start crying. Let's talk about the Supercoach Classic relevant stuff. So Archie Roberts, those that bought him a couple of rounds ago, or maybe got him from the start of the season, well done to you. Clear, breakout candidate, just your classic breakout candidate, good role, good age. Now look, the ball's gonna be down the Essendon pack line pretty often. I definitely would be concerned about Redmond coming back and taking some of his kick-ins and some of that role as well. But at the end of the day, if Brad Scott was half smart, you'd be prioritising Roberts over Redmond, but not necessarily winning games either at the same time. So but Roberts has been flying, and if you've got him, obviously, well done to you. I don't, and I'm sort of having a bit of FOMO, being an Essendon supporter, but it is what it is. Got him in a couple of draft leagues, so I'll take that. Zach Merritt, his run of hot form sort of starting to slow down now, or at least for this game. He usually does perform really well on Anzac Day, and look, to be honest, he was our second best scorer from a Supercoach perspective, and that ratio is actually unreal: 62 AFL Fantasy and 104 Supercoach. So he's clearly had a massive impact and used the ball really well, but obviously just didn't get, I guess, enough of it by way of, say, tackles or marks, 1 mark, 2 tackles. In any case, Merritt's still a great Uber Primo pod for your midfield. If you got him, great. If you don't have him, then you probably won't be buying him at this stage. In terms of classic relevance, Parrish, those that still have Parrish, a bit of a down game, bit of a reality check for him. Caldwell, I don't know if anyone that would have Caldwell, but the down game for him. Some more relevant by way of rookie price players, Farrow, 68, that's a pretty good score for what he's priced at. He's starting to taper off by way of break-even. That break-even is starting to get towards his average, so he's almost, if you wanted to cull him this week, you probably could, but you can also wait on him. Sardis, those that bought him, he really saved his score with a massive third quarter, to be honest, so this looked ugly at halftime. I reckon he was on 20 Supercoach, maybe even less, but clearly had a massive impact in the third quarter when maybe some other players in our team weren't going all that crash hot. What else? Supercoach Classic relevant. You got Blackiston, if you have still Blackiston. I'm not sure what you're doing, but get rid of him. Sharp came in for a game and, promising that he's on the park in the first place. That's probably what owners can take out of it. He is still very much cheaply rookie price, I think that 140s, 150s mark. So with a big score, if he does get one, which I doubt it given his role, but if he does, hypothetically speaking, he could potentially start his cash in again. But just good to see him playing, to be honest, both from a Supercoach perspective and also real life. So keep giving the young man some games. Moving on to the Collingwood side of things, Pendlebury. Jesus Christ, I never thought I'd see Pendlebury's name with that Pigs level of score. Back in the heyday, he was absolute freak Supercoach player. Always one of my first picked in the team. Obviously not so much now, but he is just doing some things that have never been done before. Very much like the LeBron of the AFL, to be honest. As much as it pains me to say that, he's an absolute gun and a professional, and clearly going to break the game's record this year. I think this was his career high, 43 possessions when he was in game 420 something. So it's just absurd. Can't say enough about Pendlebury. Obviously not classic relevant, but more just for the fact of him. He's just a legend, obviously, of the game. Dan Houston, those that held, credit to you, would have seen the run coming up. Those that traded him out, I'd probably say you'd be regretting it at the moment because you missed out on some. Last week wasn't the best. I think it was around that 90s mark, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe even 80s, but 116, nothing to sneeze at. Against the Bombers was always going to be light work. So, well done to those Houston owners, and you just sort of ride him out now. Just keep a hold of him and let him keep ticking along. Tagoe, not classic relevant, I don't think, but still had a great game. Putting the sword to Essendon's not the hardest thing to do in the world. So he obviously got up and we bring him into form, which is standard. Nick Dacos, that ratio is horrible. I think he was running at 20%, 25% by foot in the first half. Very un-Dacos-like, but yeah, he just couldn't trawl back that Supercoach score, unfortunately. And I did also had the C on him after I put the VC on Gawn. So Gawn versus Richmond, you thought, massive score. Dacos versus Essendon on Anzac Day, medal on the line. You would have thought massive score, not to be, and that's just how it is sometimes. So got to keep it moving. Josh Dacos, those owners would be pretty content with that. I think it's one of his highest scores in more recent time. Bit of a bounce back for him. In terms of classic relevance, Darcy Cameron, those that still have him, I'd be trading if you haven't already. That ruck split with Steen is just not working out for him at all. I don't see it ending anytime soon because Collingwood's winning games. So not one I would be holding, to be honest, and a lot of ruckman blitzing it at the moment. So if you're a Cameron owner, I'd say cull. Anderson, the rookie that was on the bubble, he was a must-buy, and he's clearly showing his Supercoach scores. Going to make an easy, if not injured, we're going to make an easy 150k for owners, which is great. And I don't think there's anything else classic relevant for the rest there. Next game, Ports v Cats. Surprised to see, I didn't watch this game, but surprised to see Port get the win comfortably, seemingly, based on the scoreline against the Geelong Cats, who I feel like just beat most teams, but in any case, Jordan Sweet ruck sharing with Byzantine and getting 141 is pretty absurd. Probably speaks to the down game that Mitch Edwards had, and we'll speak to that in a little bit. But Jason Hall-Francis, those that bought into him would be stoked. He's really on fire at the moment, and those that he probably more people going to buy him this week. I think he's lowly owned, maybe like 1 or 2% if that. So definitely more people going to buy into him. Butters, he finally broke the Oshie Mullen tag. They broke it. He just sort of played through it. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I didn't know exactly what happened there, but I think he played more outside from what I saw rather than inside, and that sort of helped him get off the chain. He was blocking for others as well. So kudos to Butters for scoring pretty impressively when you knew he was going to get the tag. In terms of other Supercoach Classic relevance, still scratch my head about the Miles Bergman role this year. I think it's more injury related, but what a massive down year from him compared to all the preseason hype. I don't think there's anything else classic relevant here. For Port, In terms of Geelong, bounce back game for Stewart owners. I think he's been frustrating the last couple of weeks with Holmes taking most of his points. Bailey Smith finally not scoring 140, 130. He's been just setting the world on fire this year. He's very highly priced. Probably set to come down a little bit now, but still, Bruin, those that have held, you're definitely repaying their faith there with a pretty great score, 92, keeps a rookie off the field if you've held him. But also, he's probably time where you can move him now. I think his break-even's almost at 90, if not mistaken. So probably when you can move on. Holmes, finally a down game for him. He may or may not get defense DVP. If he does get defense DVP, he's probably one that will be quite easily a top 6 defender if it needs to go by based on his form this year. But down game him, so he'll be a bit cheaper, I think, in the coming weeks if he doesn't have a really big game. Sean Manor scoring this year has been horrible. Mitch Edwards. So those that do have Mitchy Edwards, you've had a good run up until now. The reality check has definitely set in for him. And look, to be honest, talented young ruckman is always going to happen. I think it was at this game where, Blixarves got injured. I can't remember when he got injured, but obviously that chop out from Blix didn't come through. It probably got worked over by the Vizentini sweet combo, but he's only a young player anyways. He'll come good. But in terms of actual Supercoach Classic relevance, like his cash is definitely dried up now. So unless he has another big game, which I think can't recall who they got this week, but based on, you'd have to check matchups coming up to see if he does face, say, a weak ruckman. One you could trade, to be honest. Moving on, Dockers v Blues. Luke Jackson, he's just doing amazing things this year. So, can't speak high enough for Jackson. I'm getting a lot of FOMO not having him. He's been unreal. Obviously, good matchup against Reedy. Shea Bolton, he did have a couple of down games, I'm pretty sure, but what a bounce back game for him. Brayshaw finally getting a score that's over a ton. He's just had a really weird year. His role's been chopped and changed so much he can't be trusted at the moment, but you should see if he swings a couple of good games together. Hayden Young, 87. I don't know if anyone that still has him, but if they do, it's not too bad given his price point. One to watch. Sarong, is there a more frustrating own than Caleb Sarong in Supercoach? I don't know. But I keep falling into the trap of owning him. I did trade him in 3 weeks ago when his average was, say, 118. I think I've gotten scores of 80, 70 here. Like, it's just, it's, you just scratch your head sometimes. But anyway, we'll move on. Murphy Reed has been unreal this season so far, to be honest, given his price point, but a bit of a low game for him. Probably one you could move off given the forward primos had a kicking about. That's pretty much it for Freo. Sam Walsh, finally a good sort of, I'm going to say, I can't call it a ceiling game, to be honest, but definitely above his average. Cripps, a bit of a bounce back game. I did see someone the other day saying, Cripps is great buying at, say, 450 or 460, whatever he's priced at. But he's not the Cripps of old, so probably not one that you want to consider for classic. Reedy, interesting. So Pitnet's out for 1 to 2, this being the one. He may be back as early as next round. If he's not, Reedy is, I wouldn't say a must buy, but one I'd be certainly strongly considering buying. You're not going to get a forward ruck DVP scoring 108, and that price is in his system now. So one that will carry him through for the next couple of weeks to get a pretty nice price jump. Definitely one I'm looking at trading in. Chera, not really classic relevant. Newman, good price but not really classic relevant. I think Carlton, generally speaking, are not really classic relevant, to be honest, when you look at their list. But that's it for this game. Saints and Eagles. Saints just, put this team to the sword. Naz, if you bought Naz when his break-even was relatively high, that's really, really good buying, obviously based on matchup. He basically did whatever he wanted this game. Carroll, those that held, to be honest, I think you guys got lucky. But still, kudos to you. I'm just salty because I traded him out about in round 2 or 3, thinking he was going to get dropped when I had to make a call on trading in some players. But But yeah, those that held, good on you. You're going to get a bit of a price jump now. Rowan Marshall was definitely a tempting one when TDK was potentially out for a couple of weeks. Obviously, TDK got named, so not so much now, but still some good scoring by him playing a lot more ruck time. Wilkie, just that ton run is continuing on. One if you bought in, yeah, you can't really go against the numbers, to be honest. Philippou, those that are held, which would be a lot of people given his price point, repaying owners the faith there, still low time on ground, but found the big sticks late and yeah, just got some confidence back hopefully and can maybe string a couple of good games together. We know he's got the talent, but it's just about getting opportunity and obviously his body holding up as well. Sam Flanders, everyone has him, so it's not that big an issue, quote unquote issue, but given the talent in the forward line, he's probably not one that we would consider. I think he was at the start of the season touted as easy, top one, top two forward. Massive question mark on that. Probably top 6 to 8 now, but everyone has him, so you're not that real fussed about it. But if there was some quote unquote ballsy coaches that wanted to trade him out and try and get a point of difference in the team, kudos to you. Not one for me, but maybe one for later in the season come luxury trade time. But in any event, Tom Taccone, failed pick for SuperCoach Classic. If you still have him, I doubt you do. It's probably more one for draft, but yeah, TDK's nowhere this season. Getting paid 1.7 mil as well, which is not SuperCoach Classic relevant, but yeah. Moving on to West Coast Lindsay, what a shining light! Like, he had an unreal game. Hard to believe he's a first-year player based on that performance. Obviously, a lot of quote-unquote cheesy ball in the back line, but still can't mess with those numbers. Like, can't fault him for that. Like, and he used the ball like really well. It's one thing to run out from a kick out, but it's another thing to hit a target. He was hitting targets left, right, and center, and really happy I had him on the field. I think I only had him on the field. No, when I saw the Saints matchup, I definitely put him on the field. But I think there would have been a lot of people that put him on the field after the Todd Marshall laid out. So got a bit lucky there. Will Dersma, geez, what a miss he is this season. If you got him and paid up for the 200,000, well done to you. I think he's probably made 180 grand, if not more. It's money that we'll never see again, those that didn't get him. Classic relevant, Reed, those that still have Harley Reid. I'm sure there's more than a handful of people, as well as Stephen Tom McCarthy as well. Just some down games here, but the West Coast team did get smashed, so what else would you expect? Murdoch, good scoring for his price point as a rookie, going to make us a lot of money. And I don't think anything else SC Classic relevant here. Let's moving on. Lions and Crows. Lockie Neal, good buying for Lockie Neal. 159 fantasy. That's unreal. Historically, he has not been a high AFL fantasy scorer, especially in his time at Brisbane. But yeah, can't fault those numbers there. That's a massive, massive game. He even bounced back. I think he got severely winded. I think it was either Rankin. Rankin went straight into his chest. I think it was in quarter two. Bounced back really well, obviously. Zach Bailey, those that bought him last week, I think there was more than a few, would be really disappointed, but there's a massive bounce back. So take that. And yeah, I think I saw it was the second half. There was just globetrotter time for Brisbane. They were just doing whatever they wanted. And yeah, your Will Ashcroft and Dunkley, both good value by way of what their potential output is, but it's almost like this Brisbane midfield. Obviously you see here Neal, Ashcroft, Dunkley, McGluggage with the 85 there. He's going to be coming down severely in price. And arguably speaking, McGluggage is your best Supercoach scorer. You probably say Dunkley and him and Neal. There's a lot of them that have been Supercoach Classic relevant for a long time, but McGluggage obviously was the standout last year for Brisbane. He's going to be significantly reduced in terms of price, so he's probably a good one to buy. He was 85. Yeah, his time on ground's not high, sort of around that 50s, even low 60s mark. So once you see that time on ground start creeping up and his scoring start creeping up, it's probably then a good time to buy. But yeah, there are a lot of tempting Brisbane mids out there. What else? Expected more from Fletcher with Zorko being out. Obviously not. Maybe because the ball wasn't in the back line very often in this game. Kitty Coleman, people were pretty excited with him. He strung those 200s together, but since then hasn't been going all that well. Probably one you could move on if you wanted to, but probably one you could also hold at the same time if you're an owner. Over the Adelaide side, Jordan Dawson. And you saw him after the game in tears, and you just see this performance, even as the stat line. I think he was drifting back, doing like taking crazy marks. He's got the 8 marks here, 2 goals. Like, what a monumental performance from your captain. It's a real shame he had a bunch of passengers on his team not coming along the ride for him. But it was it Gabba, I guess, so they're probably not likely to win. But yeah, I feel like the talent pool, it drops off pretty heavily after you look at those top liners for Adelaide. But irrespective, I think I just want to spend a little bit of time more so just commending Dawson for his performance after his personal circumstances in recent time. And yeah, you saw him break down as soon as the footy was done, and his mind sort of switched off after the game. When the footy distraction was not there anymore, he just broke down crying. You really feel for him and his family. But yeah, just the fact that he went out and did this, and didn't say put up a 40 or a 50, which people would have probably forgiven him if he did. But yeah, I rewarded those owners that do have him, because there would have been a couple of people that took the pod chance on him. Rankin, yeah, good bounce back game for him. Good buying by way of his price point. So in the round 12 buy again, is that dangerous one. Worrell, another down game for Worrell. He's probably teetering on that top 6. He's probably now your top 8, top 10. He's still a great player, gets a lot of easy, quote unquote, easy ball, but yeah, a bit more of a reality check for him and Wayne Malera. But look, it's probably more that matchup. Brisbane's not by way of any stretch of imagination, especially the Gabba, an easy matchup, so they'll be probably better for it in the long run with an easier matchup. McAndrew is an interesting one. So McAndrew is probably coming to that point now where you could trade him, you could also hold him. It's really, I feel as though, not to say 50-50 split, but there'll be a lot of coaches that get rid of him and a lot of coaches that keep him. Say 30-60 split, 30% will trade him, 70% will keep him. Maths was a bit off there. I personally looking at trading, because I think the gap between him and the next and the say Primo Ruckmans is getting now wider. You got the Jacksons, the Cherries, the Grundys that are putting up just 130, 40, 50s. He's putting up 65s, generally more often the 80s. It's almost like having an additional player, to be honest, on your field if you're fielding a uber primo ruckman ahead of McAndrew. So definitely looking at that. Rochelle is definitely not one I was keen on during the year, and just waiting out for his role to effectively change, to be honest, which it has. Look, there's definitely going to be some still big games for him in future and some spike score games, but not one I would consider even a top 10 forward, to be honest. He's probably more just outside that, especially with the recent DVB changes. But yeah, those that have him, you're probably going to have to hold. He's not one you need until you get rid of all your rookie players. You're probably not one you're looking at getting rid of, to be honest. He's probably going to start to lose cash though as well. So I sort of get if you do move him on, but at the same time, that means you're a bit behind in your upgrading cadence as well. Last game for the round, we've got Lockie Whitfield top scorer in there. So one that I've had from the start of the season. So he's after a slow start, bouncing back, which has been great to see. We've got Toby Green, not really classic relevant, to be honest, but still a massive game from him. Brent Daniels, an interesting one. So yeah, he's probably not top 6, top 8, but he has been in the past in previous seasons, and clearly this is a good showing for his health that he's back on track. So yeah, if you're brave enough, credit to you, but probably more draft relevant, to be honest. Oliver, can't really complain with his scoring there, especially based on his price point. He's not going to be a top 10 mid, but is he top 20? Probably, and you might take that. His role's not going to change. He's pretty consistent. You probably want him to kick a bit more, that ratio. 18 handballs, 8 kicks, and 255 meters gain. You probably want more out of one of your star mids, but he's playing his role for the Giants. Lockie Ash is an interesting one. So he was on 70 at half time, and I just get frustrated watching Ash because I'm not an owner, but he gets a lot of easy ball and he gets fed a lot as well. And But anyway, you can't fault his talent. He's a talented player, but obviously he won the State of Origin medal. Potentially Dacos earned that, but that's fine. Still a really talented player. I think he had a -8 score in SuperCoach. He actually went backwards in the third quarter, which stunted his score. He probably would have had a score similar to Whitfield, if not more, had he had a better third quarter. But not to be. Finn Callahan. Now he's an interesting one. So 260s in a row from him the last 2 weeks, which the tags were expected. Well, not expected, given Finn O'Sullivan just got named for this game from his broken jaw, but still, when he was back, we knew he was always going to go to him. So Finn got Finn. Finn Callahan's going to be a great price in 2 or 3 rounds and great buying. Round 13 buy as well with Richmond. So, one you definitely want to look at to fill out your, say, M6, M7, 8 slot. He'll be great buying and goes into that sort of cohort of your Rows, your Bonds, your McLuggages. Those that are really coming down in price. You need to snap up some of them and hope you just make the right decision. But he's a young enough player. He's broke out last year. He's probably going to break out this year again. It was just a couple of tag games for him. But he'll be better for it in the long run. There'll be some easier matchups moving forward for him. Cherry. So those that held him for 3 rounds, a very patient wait, but it paid off, at least for this round. So, easy, I wouldn't say easy C, but definitely a worthy C option this week, knowing that he was going up against Madden. Probably some coaches that will buy into him, given I think it's the Geelong matchup next week, so easy kill against Edwards, but they may even change their ruck stocks, maybe even get Stanley back, so I'll watch this space on that, but still, Cherry, great buying. Not great buying by way of his value, but more great buying given his scoring output. You can't deny his scoring output as a super coach, even in fantasy, 145. So generally his ratio's a little bit worse than that by way of the AFL fantasy scoring. He's not as good as super coach, but you can't really fault the scoring there. Luke Parker still going by way of his consistency in that backline role. So if you have gone him as a pod, credit to you. Sheasel, got to be happy with this score after a broken finger/hand. I think it was broken finger, sorry. Wearing a glove, protective glove. I'm not going to be comfortable playing with that. He was still going for tackles, still trying to get the hard ball gets. So full credit to Sheasel. He's an absolute professional, but even as a young player, sustaining that injury during the week and then still fronting up to the game and not being laid out. Full credit to him. LDU, first staying down for the year. I think even me as an owner, and I'm sure many of the owners out there, can't really be frustrated. He's had such a lights out year so far, and probably more bringing down his average to maybe what's more like a reality. But the soft run's definitely over for LDU. Still had a great season so far. McKercher, geez, if you went McKercher in round 2 or 3, I think it was, when a lot of people did, thinking that he's going to have that cheesy backline role and just rack up 30 touches a game. Yeah. Clarko did a number on you guys. So I do feel for you guys, but at the same time, he's always one that we tend to gravitate towards as super coaches, but he has not been proven and his role is not set. So always a risky one in that respect, but you can't deny that risks. I think it was back into last year, it paid off for people, obviously not to be this year. And next week he might go and stay in the back line and then score 120, and then you'd be like pulling your hair out. He's probably one that I'd keep if I was an owner, because he might get forward DPP, and maybe even as a forward he probably would hold a bit more value. And then if he gets thrown back again, he'd be a super unreal forward primo to have. But again, can you take on scores of 60 and hold them when we have rookies out doing that? Get the frustration. Doveston, those that still haven't been classic, you just go slow burn, just keep him. I think that's it for the game. So we'll get into the team. So my team, bit of a low week for me. 2-1-7-7. I had a massive round previously. It's a massive drop off in terms of my round rank. I was ranked in 380 or something like that for the round rank for last season. So massive drop off last week. Sorry. Season rank change. Look, the season rank, it's not looking too crash hot based on my usual lofty standards. So, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll hopefully claw that back in the coming weeks, especially in the bye rounds. Getting to the team itself, so obviously covered off a lot of the players in the round review there. But in terms of my general feeling, look, Clark, calling out a couple of people that say not too happy with, or actually, let me undo the changes. I'll undo the changes and then talk through my changes. Yep. I have this looking more like what my team lined up as. Okay, so Clark, look, he had like 100. What did he have last round? If I go to season stats, what was his last round score? Yeah, 146. So 78, 146, divide that by 2, it's pretty much his average. So it is what it is. Houston, really happy I held him. I was so tempted. I had the trigger on him to get rid of him, but yeah, obviously held faith and really happy that I did. Farrow, good scoring for rookie. Jakes, held him, good scoring for rookie. We'll hold him, he'll make a bit more money. What else we got? Butters, yeah, broke through that tag as mentioned. Dacos was my C, so not obviously happy with 105 as my captain, but could have been, could have been worse. You saw some of the tag games. You got, people like Sarong and LD, not that I would have gone these guys as captains, but still. It is what it is. Heaney's one that I held across the week, so I only traded him in 2 rounds ago. I was so tempted to get rid of him and trade in Grundy and Jackson. So my trades involve him out, Grundy and Jackson in, Anderson in, and I can't recall who I traded out other than that, but it was pretty much getting rid of 1 primo, getting in 2. And do I regret not doing that? After seeing my round ranks, sort of, but also at the same time, I held the boosts as well. So I've got 3 boosts, 27 trades. I think that's, I would say more trades than most people, but it's probably above par. So I'm hoping I could claw back some of that scoring. And look, I also didn't want to trade because Heaney's a bit of a pod. It was calf tightness, and he had an 8-day break as well. So I'm like, hold the faith. He's back at the SCG, I think, next round as well. If not mistaken. So, I didn't want to regret. He's just so good to watch as well. Like when he's on, he's unreal. And I traded him in only recently, so I wasn't going to off him too easily. And held the trade again as well as mentioned. Not when you see Gawn and Mac Andrews score, compared to say your Jackson Grundys of the world, it's not the best, but it is what it is. That's not as most ruck lines wouldn't look too dissimilar, to be honest, but probably, McAndrew with a primo ruck, but there's definitely some coaches out there that would be upgrading this ruck line after the initial fear of the ruck rules. So, I was really tempted, as mentioned, to go bang, Grundy, Jackson, but hold off because it made more sense to who I traded in. I got Cozzy Pickett in, I can't complain with Cozzy Pickett's score. He kept, I think it was Lombard. He kept Lombard and Dobson off the field. So, that's, I think it's clearly 70 points. I think that's 70 points. If not, we got 60, 80. 80 point difference. It's either 70 or 80. I can't do the maths in my head quickly at the moment. It's it's late on a Monday. So, after getting the working week started. So, anyway, it's better than having Lombard or Dobson on field, put it that way. And Lindsay, just with those flex movements that I made with Todd Marshall, quickly, I was happy with Jake's score, so moved Marshall back. Wanted to field Philippou. So that's essentially my team in a nutshell. I did have my trades up before, but I'll quickly, if I can recall them off the top of my head, it was Jagger out, Blameyer's out. He's been dropped, so I'm not sure what I'm waiting for essentially there. I was boosting. And if I remember what I did, so I'm going off the memory now. Flex. And there's one more player ready to go. I think it might have even been Farrow. No, it was McAndrew. Yep. So I knew I traded in Jackson, so put Jackson to my ruck. So already that's a massive upgrade there. Getting in the must. I might have to reduce the size of this screen here so I can get it in view. Here we go. Rechko is a must-have. Yeah, his price way too good in terms of the amount of money he's going to make for us. And then it was going to be, Reedy. So it's just a matter of how I get Reedy in the team by way of who goes where. From memory, I went Marshall to my flex. I went ZZ back because ZZ, I'm not playing ZZ by way of any means, but it's more just, I think I just like the flex, just the way this little looks by way of the flexibility. And then getting in Reedy, who, I'll say hopefully, when I say hopefully, Pitnet's out, I don't mean any bad by way of Pitnet, but in terms of pure SuperCoach, it'd be just good to have Reedy getting a run at it. For his price, look, if he scores 51, he goes up 52k, and I'm sure that he'll just track on from there if he gets games, and if he doesn't get games, so be it. He'll be a loophole, like ZZ has been in recent times. So in terms of setting up for next week, pop Lindsay on field. Jakes is my backup there. In terms of matchups, that's fine. Heaney on for Rechko. Out of Rechko and Anderson, who has the better matchup. Rechko's got West Coast and Anderson has Hawks, so Rechko definitely has the better matchup. So let's go Anderson on the bench with the E. Reedy there. Yep, that lines up nicely. And Marshall, all going well. If he gets named, I'm more than happy to field him as well. So in terms of captain options, I think that if English is not named, Jackson, for me, on debut, is the clear standout. So when does he play? 1st of May, Friday. So I'll put Jackson with the V. Hopefully I have a loophole available, which I don't see Watkins or ZZ getting named. So maybe one of these guys. Watkins actually can't be done because he's playing Friday on the showdown. So maybe ZZ. I'll have to take a look at it depending on team sheets. In terms of C, if Jackson fails, tough one. There's no real clear standout, to be honest. Maybe Petrarca. Giants don't tag. At least they don't this year, as far as I've seen. So maybe Petrarca. Could go Heaney as a bit of a pod. They have tagged a little bit, full strip, but which ground is this at? SCG. Oh, yeah, tight calf. It takes some quote unquote balls to go there. Heaney could be an interesting C. I'll leave it as Petrarca for the moment. I'd have more faith in Petrarca at this stage, but and look, Jackson, hopefully, if say hopefully again, not hopefully, but if Bennett does not get named, it's Reedy. I reckon Jackson will monster Reedy, and we'll just have to. I don't think we'll just simply take that. But good to have 2 bites of the cherry. Who are people trading in and out? So a quick review of that. Jake's to be honest, probably has a bit more money to make, but I sort of get it. If you are trading him, Lombard, it's not probably going to make that much more money, but who are you trading him to be honest, to make that cash? Bit of a question mark on that. Farrow, his break even's getting there towards the average, so I sort of get that, but maybe if one more big score, he could make a bit more cash. So wrong. I feel you. The 1.2% of coaches that are getting rid of him. of trades. Sorry. Yeah, I feel you. Just very frustrating. The thing is, if you're trading him now at this price point, you're just copying the L and moving on, which is fair enough. He's frustrating enough as it is, but surely you have bigger problems than Sarong. I do get the frustration though. But don't trade him when he's 500,000. You should trade him when he's, if you're ever going to trade him when he's like 650. But obviously you wouldn't do that. But he's not worth much money now, and can technically be a top 8, top 10 mid when on. So yeah, I'd encourage Sarong owners to undo those raise trades and keep him. You'll have bigger problems, no doubt, and you'll be behind a primo upgrade if you get rid of him now. But it's your team. You do what you want. It's just my humble advice. Trade-ins, Naz. Yeah, I want Naz so bad, but his break-even is 121. So, famous last words, but surely he can't score much more than that. I think Jackson is the more pressing buy at the moment, and I don't want to pay up for Cherry. I think Cherry will come down, probably a little bit. Grundy has some tougher matchups coming up, so I don't want to pay up, and I want to carry in some cash into next week. 145,000. Hopefully, I can just go one up, one down for a couple of weeks and hold on to my boosts. Other trade-ins, Bont. Yeah, you're probably going early, to be honest. 160 as his break even. With his knee the way it is, I doubt he goes higher than that. But don't blame coaches for getting him at a reasonable price there. Roberts, yeah, at that price point, I'll probably wait, to be honest, because Redmond's coming back. Been lights out, no doubt, but yeah, I think the value has now gone, so I probably wouldn't be buying Roberts. I want to see a couple of weeks with Redmond as well. Horn Francis, like, great buying at that price. In form, I think top 6 for DBP. His role's too good. He's a really talented player, especially for SuperCoach. His profile going forward, scoring goals in and under, yeah, really good. It's just that round 12 buy that, you know, it just hurts way too much. So if I go round 12 buy, who I've already got Shees off, I've already got Petrarca off. I can't add in Horn Francis when I have LDU Butters already off. It's way too many primos off in that first round, and you want to be, I'm going to say back ending you want even spread amongst all the buys, but you almost want to back end the players. You'd rather have more players in the round 16 buy, because as you're upgrading through the buys, you're effectively getting more and more primos in, so therefore it's going to hurt you a lot less at that back end. But anyway, and that's enough for this video, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. I'll look to do a video going on to round preview, perhaps a very short video looking at team sheets and where I ended up landing on for trades. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next one.